Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you very much for joining me to this short-term outlook on commodities. In this webinar I shall be talking about energy and metals. Energy will be the West Texas Intermediate Crude, and with metals I'll be taking a look at gold and silver. Before we begin, I would just like to make a note that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. The West Texas Intermediate Crude didn't make any significant moves on Friday, although the market pools did put in a brief challenge after the price action temporarily hit and then topped out from $45.18 before prices settled in New York at $44.90. The West Texas Intermediate Crude has suffered its fourth consecutive weekly loss as the market weighs on rising US drilling against ongoing efforts by major producers to cut output to reduce the global excess. It recorded its lowest point since early May on Tuesday at $44.22. As the market rebounds in shale production in the US, which could eventually derail effects by other major producers to rebalance the market, the data from the energy service company Baker Hughes showed that on Friday, the US drillers last week added rigs for the 22nd week in a row, adding to a total of 747 rigs. This by far the longest such record ever recorded. Last month, OPEC and some non-OPEC producers extended a deal to cut 1.8 million barrels per day in supply until March 2018. However, so far, the production cut agreement has had little impact on the global inventory levels. As you can see, the market is still holding to a downtrend. Now, with the daily technical implications near oversold conditions, could in the short term for the start of this week see a short impulse towards the top side with the resistance holding at 45.70.90. However, on a broader scale, the pattern is unfolding to a stronger bearish scenario. If we look at the weekly, you can see here very strong implications from the close on New York on Saturday morning. Now, if this pattern continues, then we won't be looking at a $43.40.60 as a potential target, but we could be looking down towards $41.50 or out to 6 months, a low around $35 a barrel. So if this pattern does continue, and also with the implications I've just read, is that oil in the near term is unlikely to recover much beyond $47 a barrel and look closer to more 43 to 41 or 35. Moving on to gold, at this stage it appears that the gold price action has temporarily established a short-term base or support in front of the 1,248.50 level. After Friday's price action, the market hit a 3-week low of 1,251. Now, viewing the daily technical studies, it is apparent that the market is still not out of the bearish waters, as the risks still apply to the downside for the start of this week. However, I'm a little bit cautious of that, but what we would need to see further implications to the downside is a move sub 1,248. Then this would give a target towards 1,242, or possibly looking towards this region where I've highlighted at 1,230 to 36 and re-establish from there. Now, the gold price action has remained weak since the FOMC rate hike of 25 basis points. Along with Janet Yellen surprised the market with the unexpected upbeat hawkish statement, could now see gold prices still pressure the downside. Looking towards the top side, it is expected that any advances would find resistance from 1,258, that is minor, and firmer above at 1,266. The silver price action has remained weak over the last 8 consecutive days, with hardly any rebound since touching its target of $16.60. Now questions whether if the market is contemplating another downturn beneath $16.60, as we've seen that as the low this morning, Now, a break beneath there would give further scope towards $16.30 and reassess from there. I am a little bit cautious to coming out with the bearish call. However, I do expect to see stops triggered under 60 and look towards $16.30, and we could, in the short term, see a possible recovery from there. Any advances for the start of this week should find resistance at $16.85 as minor, and firmer above at $17.15 to $17.35. So that wraps up my view on commodities. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you have a great start to the week.